Hi there. Today we are going to be doing a journal entry on common multiples. So the title of this one is Common Multiples. And our learning goal is we will find the least common multiple of two whole numbers. So before we get too far, we should probably define what a multiple is. So a multiple is the product, which is multiplication, of any whole number and any whole number so it's the product of any whole number and another whole number. So for example, 16 is a multiple of 4 because 4 times 4 equals 16. So since I can multiply 4 by some number, which happens to also be 4, I would get 16. So 16 is considered a multiple of 4. Next, you are going to need the foldable. So I have it cut out. Make sure you trim it up. And then you're going to fold it over so that the printed side is up on top. And then next you're going to make 2 cuts. I'm only going to make 2 cuts on the side that has the writing on it. And we're going to cut up one side so that you're kind of cutting at the edge of the circle for the multiples in common, and then on the other side. So now I have 3 doors to my foldable. So I can fold it back up. And if you need to pause your video so you can do that, go ahead. And I am going to have you open up the middle one. And you are going to draw 2 lines. So use the side of the one that's laying down and kind of trace along the edge of it so that you get a divider. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other side so that I get a column so I can write in the middle right here. Okay? Alright, so for this example, we're going to look at the first 10 multiples of 6, and we're going to look at the first 10 multiples of 9, and then we're going to take a look and see which one that what they have in common with each other. Now, we're only going to look at the first 10 multiples because there are an infinite number of multiples for every whole number, as you are about to see. So let's open it up. That's not distracting. All right. So when we're talking about multiples, we're going to be multiplying the whole number. And the whole number that we're going to start with is 6 because we're trying to find what the first multiples are of 6. So if we're thinking about the number 6, well, the first multiple of 6 would be 1 times 6, so that's 6. So my very first multiple of 6 is 6. My second multiple I would get by multiplying it by 2, and that would give me 12. And we're going to keep going through this pattern of multiplying by an increasing whole number to get the next multiple of 6. So 4 times 6 is 24, and we're going to do this 10 times because we want the first 10 multiples of 6. So I'm going to just write all my multiplication out here. And make sure that your writing is legible so that you can read what you have written later on. So 5 times 6 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 7 is 42. 8 times 6 is 48. 9 times 6 is 54. And 10 times 6 is 60. So this is how I would find my first 10 multiples of 6. So my first 10 multiples of 6, I'm going to list down here. So my multiples of 6, we're going to make a list. So you're just listing what your products are, because remember, your multiple is a product of any two whole numbers by each other. So my multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, and 60. And these are just the first 10 of them. Now, I obviously could keep multiplying 6 by some number to get larger and larger multiples. So that's why when I said before we have an infinite number of multiples, we're just going to look at the first 10. Otherwise, we'd literally be here for the rest of our lives trying to come up with the infinite number of multiples of 6. So next, we're going to take a look at the multiples of 9 through the same process. So we're going to think about the number 9. And we're going to multiply each 9 by increasing whole numbers. I'm going to start with 1 because the first multiple of 9 is 9. And I'm going to keep going. I'm actually going to write out all the multiplication and then I'm going to go down and do them. So 2 times 9, 18. 3 times 9 is 27. 4 times 9 is 36. 5 times 9 is 45. 6 times 9 is 54. 7 times 9 is 63. 8 times 9 is 72. 9 times 9 is 81. And 10 times 9 is 90. So we're going to list those multiples of 9. Multiples of 9. And again, I'm looking for the first 10. Just the first 10. I can't list all the multiples. So we have 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, and 90. Okay, so having these lists out here are super helpful because I can just look at the list and I don't need to get bogged down by all the multiplication. You don't need to list out the multiplication problem. You can just give me the multiples, the list of the multiples. But this is a helpful tool to help you kind of create that list of multiples and make sure that you don't miss any. So when we take a look at our multiples, let's, in this box right here, let's take a look and let's make our multiples in common. Common multiples. So when we're talking about common multiples, we're looking at which one is in both of these lists. So let me grab a different color and I'm going to circle them. How about, I think green will be okay. All right. So I'm going to look through my list, and it looks like I have 18 in both. So I'm going to list 18. I have 36. I have 54. There it is. So these are just the common multiples that show up within the first 10 multiples of both numbers. Obviously, there's a lot more multiples that they could have in common, but we don't need to look at all of them. So when we're talking about multiples, they actually use, when they're comparing numbers, we actually focus on which one is the least. So we were talking about greatest common factors, we talked about the greatest one, but we can't get a greatest common multiple because they go on for infinity. So we're looking for the least common. So I'm going to take these down so we can just look at the common multiples here. And so my least common multiple which you sometimes see as LCM. So you have the least common multiple. My least common multiple, if I look at this list, the lowest number is 18. So my least common multiple of 6 and 9 is 18. So next I'm going to have you glue your foldable into your notebook. So make sure it's on the page with your common multiples. And make sure that you put your page number and you update your table of contents. Thank you for watching.